Archangel Michael was assigned to you 3 times, but you ignored every sign. Open this before it's too late. The next 60 seconds matter to you the most. Listen now, not with your ears, but with your spirit. For this is not a message that was written in ink or imagined by man. This message is summoned by the courts of heaven, written upon the scrolls of your destiny, and spoken through the breath of urgency. Time bends in this moment, and in the span of these next few seconds, eternity leans in to watch what you will do. Not by accident have you stumbled here. Not by coincidence have you paused to listen. You were led. You were marked. You were chosen. 3 times the heavens move. 3 times the trumpet sounded softly through your dreams, your disruptions, and your delays. And 3 times, without blame, but with burden, you missed the signs. Not because you were careless, but because you were clouded. The noise around you drowned out the whisper. The battle inside you blurred the call. But now there is no more delay. Heaven hath been silent long enough. Now the truth must be spoken. Archangel Michael, the appointed warrior of the Most High, was sent to you, assigned, dispatched, not once, not twice, but 3 times, not with condemnation, but with covering, not with fear, but with fire. He stood beside your bed when you wept and called it stress. He circled your home when you feared the dark. He walked into the room when you thought you were alone. And still, you did not see. Still, you look away. Still, you chose silence. But now, the silence breaks. The question still burns in the heavens. Why you? Why now? And I say to you, it is not for you to question the choosing, but to respond to the call. Because not all who hear are stirred. But if your spirit shakes, if your soul feels exposed, it is because this word carries your name, your timeline, your mission. This message is not for everyone. This message is for the remnant, the awakened, the ones who feel heaven pulling at the center of their chest. Stillness is the doorway. Obedience is the currency. In the next 60 seconds, yes, in the sacred stretch of a single earthly minute, your response will shift the atmosphere around you. You don't need to know what comes next. You only need to know who is speaking now. And the heavens are waiting. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you. By the authority of the Most High, and in the name of Michael, protector of the remnant, commander of heavenly armies, defender of the chosen, I speak this warning into the fabric of your soul. You have less than a minute to align your spirit. I do not speak of earthly minutes, but of the ticking clock of the spirit. For in the realm of heaven, seconds are measured by surrender, and delay can cost destiny. What you do in this moment is being weighed. What you feel as you hear this is not emotion. It is exposure. Heaven is leaning in, watching, waiting to see if your spirit will rise. You must hear this. You were never ignored by heaven, but you have ignored the divine whisper sent to shake you awake. You called it coincidence when your soul stirred at the same time every night. You dismissed the numbers when they repeated again and again. You forgot the dream that lingered like smoke in your chest, too real to forget, too strange to explain. These were not accidents. They were not imaginations. They were assignments. 3 of them. 3 divine interruptions. The first was sent in stillness, a moment of silence so heavy it suffocated your distractions. The second came in symbols, repeating patterns, strange delays, sudden faces in dreams. The third arrived in disruption, a plan that unraveled, a connection that vanished, a door that closed violently. These were not misfortunes. They were divine alerts. And I, Michael, was behind them all. Assigned, sent, dispatched on your behalf. You were being shielded from something you could not see. A hidden strike, a spiritual ambush, a trap laid not just to harm you, but to derail your entire calling. But heaven, in mercy, moved, and I stood between you and the pit. I fought for you when you had no strength to pray. I guarded you when your mouth was sealed in weariness. But every angelic assignment needs a response, and yours was silence. Still, the mercy of God speaks again. This message does not come to the lukewarm. It is not for those casually scrolling, half listening. This message is a trumpet, and only the awakened will hear it with trembling. If your heart races, if your breath shortens, if you feel like the ground beneath you is shifting, it is because this message carries your name in the Spirit. You have been identified. A for destruction, B for distinction. The next 60 seconds are not a countdown to fear, but to fate. Whether you say yes or delay once again, the response will ripple. The clock of heaven is not digital. It is divine. It counts obedience, not time. And your obedience is being weighed even now. Look around. The air feels different. The room feels charged. That is not atmosphere. That is angelic presence. I am here. Michael, assigned by the Almighty. I do not speak to entertain. I speak to awaken. This is your crossing point. You are standing in the threshold between warning and warfare, between distraction and destiny, between ignoring and igniting. And the gates of heaven will not remain open forever. There is a moment when mercy speaks louder than your hesitation, and that moment is now. Choose silence again, and the sword will return to its sheath. Respond now, and I will draw it for your defense. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. You have felt it, haven't you? That subtle tension, that sudden chill, that unexplainable heaviness in the room when everything seems still. That was never anxiety. That was never coincidence. That was never just bad energy. That was interference. That was spiritual fog. That was divine disruption trying to reach your soul through the noise you call normal. And I, Michael, was there, standing at the veil between spirit and flesh, waiting for you to see what could not be spoken, waiting for your spirit to awaken before the strike reached your door. Someone near you has been wearing a mask of closeness. They have smiled with their mouth but envied with their spirit. Their affection was performance. Their praise was poisoned. And yet you sensed it, didn't you? You felt the stutter in your spirit when they spoke. You felt the withdrawal of peace when they entered the room. That was heaven warning you through discomfort. That was your spirit discerning what your mind couldn't explain. But you ignored it, again. There are watchers in the spirit realm, ancient forces assigned to monitor, manipulate, and mimic. They celebrate every delay in your destiny. They whisper lies wrapped in familiar voices. They sow confusion in the soil of your progress. You call it stress. You call it overthinking. But the realm of darkness has always known that if you ever wake up, you will be dangerous. You are dangerous. Your tears were never just sadness. They were evidence that your soul was catching signals. Your restlessness was never random. It was the shaking of heaven in your chest. You kept waking up at strange hours. You kept having conversations replay in your mind. You kept getting quiet in moments you couldn't explain. That with the Spirit of God pulling your focus back. That was the weight of glory brushing your skin like a warning wind. In still silence, I stood at the edge of your life, sword drawn, ready to intercept what was being planned behind your back. But silence held me back. Heaven cannot fight where there is no invitation. I was assigned, not imposed. And every time you turned away, you delayed the defense that was meant for you. Yet even in your dismissal, the mercy of God surrounded you. Because mercy always gives one more moment. This is that moment. You have been surrounded by energies that were never for you. Conversations were held behind closed doors with your name twisted on unfamiliar tongues. Assignments were launched in whispers. But what they didn't know, what even you didn't understand, is that your spirit has been marked with authority they cannot comprehend. They don't know the weight of your destiny. They don't know that heaven chose you before their betrayal was born. They don't know that Michael, commander of the armies of the living God, was sent to stand for you. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And this is the last time. This moment is divine disruption. The trembling you feel is the splitting of spiritual resistance. The questions in your heart are not confusion. They are the birth pains of awakening. You are not falling apart. You are being summoned. There is a war for your attention, and this message is the sound of your spirit breaking through. So listen carefully. Heaven is not quiet anymore. The silence has ended. Type I receive this in the comments if your spirit knows this is for you. Blessing code 1717 is now released. If your spirit is stirred by this word, then know this is not just a video. This is a weapon. Every message like this pierces darkness and pulls others out of spiritual slumber. But that only happens because of warriors like you who help carry the fire. When you give through super thanks, membership, or even through the PayPal link in the description below, you are sowing into the work of the kingdom, not the comfort of a channel. You are planting seed into divine ground. You are fueling the voice that heaven is using. As it is written, the generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. This is not a donation. This is obedience. This is a prophetic act. If you feel the pull to respond, do it boldly. Give with faith. Support with purpose. And as you do, may the same angelic covering surround your house. May your seed unlock someone else's deliverance. Give now, and watch what heaven releases in return. You have wondered why the storm didn't stop. You have questioned why the pressure increased after you prayed. You have looked at your stillness and thought it meant failure. But I am sent to declare to you now, your resistance was never rebellion. It was revelation. Heaven was using the silence to measure something deeper than noise. The throne was not waiting on your perfection. It was watching your posture. You felt like you failed. But I tell you this, heaven framed your conflict as a test of discernment, not punishment. You were not being pushed away. You were being drawn into a war not of flesh but of dimensions. While you questioned the attacks, heaven was watching your reactions. And where you saw confusion, heaven saw calibration. Where you saw delays, heaven saw defense. Yes, I speak again of the 3 signs, the 3 attempts, the 3 divine interruptions you dismissed. Not out of defiance, but because the battlefield was disguised. The warfare was cloaked in normal faces, familiar voices, comfortable places. And yet, even when you did not speak, your spirit was groaning. Even when you walked away, your soul stood still. This is the mercy of the Most High, that even in your human uncertainty, you were being trained in obedience through silence. You did not fail. You were being refined. And refinement is never quiet. Heaven does not refine in comfort. It refines in the chaos of confusion, in the wilderness of wondering. You were not left behind. You were pulled apart, not by the enemy, but by the hand of God, so that what cannot go with you would fall away before the next level. There has been a war around your name, and I, Michael, have stood in it. 3 times I drew my sword for you. 3 times I stepped between you and the unseen. 3 times heaven ordered protection, not because you were holy, but because you were chosen. The attacks that should have crushed you, the betrayal that should have broken you, the deception that should have swallowed your mind, I stopped them. Not because you asked, but because you were marked. You are a carrier of authority you don't yet understand. That is why the conflict has been relentless. That is why the familiar turned hostile. That is why the quiet moments felt heavy, because even in your silence, the spirit realm was reacting to your name. Heaven never looked away, even when you did. The ones who walked out were necessary. The confusion that rattled you was allowed. Not to destroy you, but to empty your hands of what could not walk into your next chapter. And those who watched your silence and assumed defeat will soon witness your elevation. Because this battle, hear me now, this battle was never against flesh and blood. This was never about them. This was never about what they said or didn't say. This has always been a conflict of kingdoms. You are awakening. And the evidence is not in your shouting, it's in your shaking. The evidence is not in your certainty, it's in your surrender. You have not been abandoned. You have been armed. And where there is surrender, there is angelic assignment. You have not missed your moment. You are in it now. So be still and know. Know that this battle was heaven's way of sealing you in the fire. And those who thought you were silent out of weakness will soon realize you were silent because you were in warfare. The battlefield hath been cloaked until now. Type I am under divine command in the comments if this word confirms your spirit. Lesson code 4411 is surrounding your household tonight. There is movement in the realm of the spirit. What was once hidden is now approaching the surface. The atmosphere around you has changed, not because of emotion, but because of eruption. The heavens have begun to stir with urgency. The courts of light are convening. The messengers are moving. The Lion of Judah is roaring. And I, Michael, have been dispatched again, for the 4th time does not exist. Listen carefully. The window is still open, but the frame is trembling. Something is shifting in your timeline. Within the next 72 hours, the unseen will press through the veil and touch the natural. A confrontation is approaching. A veil is about to be torn. Someone's mask is about to fall off. You will no longer wonder who was for you and who was sent to sabotage you. Their fruit will speak. Your presence will betray them. Your silence will scream louder than their words. You will see it with your own eyes. Michael's presence, my presence, is intensifying. And where I increase, so does the movement of all spirits. The realm is full of watchers, and they have been waiting for your delay to become your defeat. But heaven did not bring you this far to leave you now. Yet know this, protection always comes with instruction. And when instruction is ignored, permission is removed. Heaven does not warn 4 times. You have heard the signs, 3 dreams that repeated like prophecy. 3 delays that bent your schedule until it hurt. 3 messages, this one being, The third, calling your spirit to attention. The number 3 is not casual in the spirit. It is covenant. It is completion. It is the fullness of divine warning. After this, the consequence is no longer delayed. What was once hovering becomes revealed. What was once whispered becomes shouted. The spiritual climate around you has reached its boiling point. You must prepare. There are tremors in the spirit because decisions are being made about you, decisions that you were meant to interrupt through obedience. That sickness you felt, it wasn't physical. A tension in the air, it wasn't paranoia. That pressure on your chest, it wasn't stress. It was the spirit realm demanding your attention. It was heaven shaking your awareness like thunder in the bones of your soul. And here you are, not by accident but by divine redirection. You are reading this because the next 3 days are not random. They are critical. They are consecrated. You will witness a manifestation. Something that was planned in secret will attempt to come forward. And what you do between now and then will determine how it unfolds. Heaven is still with you for now. But the clock is louder than before. I was assigned to defend you, to protect what is on your name. But even I cannot override rebellion. If you delay again, the strike you were once shielded from will no longer be stopped. Not because God stopped loving you, but because His mercy was met with your deafness. And the Most High will not protect what is disobedient indefinitely. The pressure you feel in the air is not your imagination. The temperature has shifted because the realm has changed. The veil is thinning. The watchers are whispering. The angelic ranks are forming lines. And your name is still echoing through the heavens. This is your moment. This is your final warning. The next 72 hours are not just another chapter. They are the confrontation of what has followed you for too long. You will see it. You will feel it. But the question remains, will you be covered or exposed when it happens? Choose now. Type "I am protected by heaven" in the comments if this warning reaches your spirit. Blessing code 3303 is circling you in the spirit realm. Be still now. Not passive, still. Stillness is not weakness. It is not retreat. It is the posture of power when heaven is in motion. There are moments when your movement interrupts what the angels have already begun to do. And I speak to you now, not with the roar of warfare, but with the command of peace. The kind of peace that doesn't come from the absence of battle, but from the presence of divine alignment. This moment you're in, it is sacred. The air has thickened. The spiritual tension has risen. And what comes next will not be determined by how loud you speak, but by how still you remain. Heaven fights when you don't. But heaven fights best when your heart is positioned in holy obedience. I speak clearly now, and I do not repeat myself again. In the days ahead, do not light fires that God never told you to burn. Do not chase answers that heaven is already handling. Do not speak where silence is your sword. The instructions are simple, but they carry weight in the spirit. Pray in silence. Move in peace. Trust without proof. And watch without reacting. You are being protected, not just from what others planned, but from your own instinct to fix what only heaven can repair. The silence you are called into is not isolation. It is insulation. You are being wrapped, guarded, sealed. And your silence will become your shield. The quiet heart commands angels. The surrendered spirit calls fire down without raising its voice. And your obedience, even when it makes no sense, will echo like thunder in the courts of light. There are those around you who are waiting to provoke a reaction. They are baiting your energy. They are hoping for a misstep, a confession, an emotional eruption. You not give them what they seek. Let stillness confuse them. Let peace disarm them. Let heaven fight in the space where your words used to go. I, Michael, have drawn my wings around you. Not metaphorically, spiritually. Your home is being marked in the unseen. Your space is being sealed. And the Most High has assigned watchers to every corner of your atmosphere. Nothing is allowed to enter unless it bows. Nothing is allowed to strike unless it's permitted. And if you obey, no permission will be granted to the enemy. You are not to fear what is coming. You are only to follow what has been spoken. Obedience is your oil. Stillness is your shield. Discernment is your weapon. And worship, even in whispers, is your war cry. Every time you choose silence when you want to argue, heaven dispatches another layer of covering. Every time you trust without evidence, another angel draws his blade on your behalf. You are not alone. You are not exposed. You are not forgotten. You are not unguarded. What the enemy sees as vulnerability is actually divine invisibility. You are hidden beneath the shadow of the Almighty, and your name is still being spoken in the halls of heaven. So take no vengeance. Answer no insult. Expose no one. Let heaven do what heaven does. Those who plot will reveal themselves. Those who cursed your name in secret will unravel in public. You need not announce the trap. It will spring on its own. And when it does, heaven will have already built the bridge for your escape. You are covered. You are guided. You are sealed. The battle does not belong to you, and neither does the weight. Let go, and let war be waged in the heavenlies, not in your hands. Type "I am still" in his shadow in the comments if this instruction confirms your next move. Blessing code 5544 is now surrounding your house with angelic covering. You are not who you were. You are not the one who ignored the first sign. You are not the one who turned away in confusion. You are not the one who let the whisper pass by, who dismissed the dream, who silenced the stirring. That version of you was real, yes, but it was temporary. That version of you was the soil. This version of you is the seed breaking open. And I, Michael, am here to declare over you. You are rising. You were not called to remain hidden in spiritual hesitation. You were called to awaken. And now, you stand in the middle of transformation. The fire that once felt like punishment was purification. The silence that once felt like abandonment was a divine cocoon. The confusion was not a curse, it was construction. And now the armor that has been forged in the quiet is ready to be worn in the war. You are not stepping into a battle as a beggar. You are entering it as a blood-marked warrior. Your spirit is the flame that darkness cannot extinguish. You were not preserved for comfort, you were preserved for confrontation. And not a confrontation with man, but with the assignments that have followed your family line. You are not weak. You are not unworthy. You are not late. You are perfectly placed in the hour of awakening. And the heavens are rejoicing because you have finally answered the third call. I tell you now, what once wounded you has now given way to wings. Wings are forming where wounds once bled. You are rising with divine momentum, not because you tried harder, but because you surrendered deeper. That's how warriors are born, not in noise but in surrender. Not in crowds but in caves. Not on stages but in silence. You are rising into the image heaven always saw in you. The version of you that hell hoped you'd never meet. The version of you that does not flinch when darkness whispers. The version of you that carries discernment like a blade. The version of you that doesn't just survive attacks but stops them before they form. You are stepping into your post. You are stepping into your identity. You are stepping into the rank that was always yours. Do not let the old memories define this new anointing. You may remember the fear, but heaven remembers your yes. You may recall the silence, but God remembers the moment your spirit turned. And that moment, that sacred pivot, marked the beginning of your empowerment. Not emotional hype, but holy confidence. Not pride, but power. Not self-promotion, but spiritual placement. You are a warrior of light. You are the one that darkness now fears. And I, Michael, who warred on your behalf in silence, now war with you in power. I do not just fight for you. I fight beside you. This is not the end of the warning. This is the beginning of your walking. A walking in authority. A walking in clarity. A walking in fire. What once chased you will now retreat. What once silenced you will now bow. The enemy that tried to erase your name will now watch your name rise on scrolls of divine assignment. You are becoming. And what you are becoming is exactly what this war was trying to prevent. You are a flame in the hand of the Most High. You are a weapon in the wind of heaven. You are rising. Type "I am awakening" in the comments if you feel this shift breaking open in your spirit. Blessing code 7770 is igniting your new beginning. Hear me now. The silence was not punishment. It was preparation. It was the space between your breaking and your becoming. And the heavens have watched, with fire in their breath and scrolls in their hands, as you moved through the stillness, not realizing what was forming around you. But now, the Spirit of the Lord speaks with finality. You are stepping into your unveiling. You thought the silence meant you were forgotten. You thought the delays meant your name had been erased. But the opposite was true. The silence was the strategy. The delay was the divine pause between your hiding and your highlighting. Because what is consecrated must first be concealed. You were not overlooked. You were overshadowed, shielded from premature exposure because your identity was too potent to be handed to an unready world. And now it is time. I declare this not from sentiment, but from scrolls. Your name has been spoken in the courts of light. I have seen it inscribed on banners that angels carry into battle. I have heard it echoed in heavenly ranks. Not the name people call you, but the name heaven gave you. The name that carries assignment. The name that carries authority. The name that carries the prophecy of your existence. What you are stepping into is not just a new season. It is your divine unveiling. Everything that was hidden, covered, questioned, or suppressed now begins to rise. Hidden truths are surfacing. Secrets that bound you in confusion are being broken in plain sight. The masks around you will fall. The fog inside you will lift. You are entering your moment of divine exposure, not to shame you, but to show you. To show you what was working behind the veil. To show you why the warfare intensified right before the blessing. To show you that every ignored sign was still wrapped in mercy. You may have ignored the signs, but heaven never stopped sending them. And now, the signs become testimonies. The dreams become maps. The numbers become confirmations. The delays become deliverance. Everything that once felt disconnected is now converging into a single revelation. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared for your release. This is your unlocking. Your next level doesn't come because of striving, it comes because of surrender. And now, because you answered the final call, what was once sealed is now being opened. Doors that mocked you are being commanded to open. Opportunities that rejected you are being summoned back with angelic escort. What was delayed is now being released. not dripped, released, not partial, full, and heaven has moved. You are not the same. And because you have shifted, the spiritual world must shift with you. Heaven responds to transformation. The moment your spirit aligned, the realm of the spirit exploded with movement. Scrolls were opened. Chains were shattered. Assignments were redistributed. Angels were reassigned. And I, Michael, was commanded to remain by your side, not just as protector, but as witness to your rising. What was once buried is breathing again. But what was a whisper in no trumpet? What was once hidden in silence is now thundering in revelation. And the earth must respond. Type "My unveiling has begun" in the comments if this prophecy is for you. Blessing code 8881 is now unlocking what was once delayed. If this message is awakening you, then you already know this is not entertainment. It is intercession. This is not just content. It is calling. Every time a word like this is spoken, it doesn't just shift your spirit. It awakens others who are still sleeping. But to keep this fire burning, we need the hands of the faithful. When you give, whether through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the video description, you are not giving to a platform. You are sowing into prophetic fire. You are fueling the voice heaven is using to break chains. You are answering the call of Isaiah 58:10. If you spend yourselves on behalf of the hungry, your light will rise in the darkness. This is that moment. Let your giving be your declaration. Let your seed say, "Heaven, I'm aligned." And may your gift echo in the spirit, drawing favor, fire, and fulfillment back to your house. So now, not as charity but as prophecy, your support carries eternal weight. You have heard. You have felt. You have received. Now, you must move. Destiny is not unlocked by emotion. It is activated by obedience. The angels have surrounded your name, the Spirit has stirred your core, and the heavens have waited long enough. This is the hour. This is the moment. This is the exact alignment of heaven's voice and your agreement. Your yes will shake everything. I do not speak to your comfort. I speak to your calling. Your calling is not waiting on perfection. It is waiting on permission. Not from people, not from platforms, but from your mouth, your will, your soul. Destiny is knocking, but it cannot enter unless you say yes. It does not answer to your delay. It answers only to your obedience. Your surrender is the key. Not when you feel ready, but now. I speak now with urgency, not fear, but fire. Say yes before the next minute passes. The clock of heaven is not winding down out of drama, but out of divine timing. When heaven marks a moment, delay becomes disobedience. The cloud has moved. The spirit has shifted. And the realm around you is already forming around your answer. But what will it be? You cannot return to comfort. The door behind you has closed. What you thought was still an option has already been stripped from the spirit. You will never again be at peace living small. You will never again be satisfied staying silent. Your spirit is already rising, and to ignore it now would be to enter war without covering. The Most High is not suggesting. He is summoning. You must declare. You must align. You must step. I, Michael, declare over you. The moment you say yes, the angels move again. The moment you say yes, the plan that was written before your birth begins to unfold. Scrolls will open. Chains will break. Assignments will be activated. Not just around you, but within you. You were not made to merely survive this life. You were born to confront darkness, carry light, and walk in the flame of your original design. So do not hesitate. Declare aloud, even now, I align with heaven. I surrender to the call. I activate my destiny. These are not just words. These are war cries. These are the keys. These are the unlocking of gates you didn't even know were sealed. And once they open, nothing will shut them again. The Spirit is moving through you like wind. Can you feel it? That trembling is the breaking of chains. That heat in your chest is the fire of God being reignited. That stirring is not adrenaline. It is alignment. Something inside of you is answering heaven, even if your mind can't keep up. Do not let the opportunity pass again. This is not one of many chances. This is the appointed time. Your disobedience will not cancel God's love, but it will reroute your timeline. And time is not something you can afford to lose again. This is not about being late. This is about stepping into the moment where everything shifts. The Spirit of the Lord is upon you. You are not waiting on destiny. Destiny is waiting on you. And the hourglass has already been flipped. So rise, declare, activate, and never look back. Type my YESs now in the comments if you hear this call in your spirit. Lesson code 9994 is releasing your scroll of destiny even now. While you wept in the midnight hour and felt forgotten, a meeting was taking place in the courts of heaven. While your soul groaned without words, your name was spoken in the language of eternity. While you said nothing, heaven spoke everything. The silence you kept was not empty, it was sacred currency. You did not know it, but a transaction had already begun. A divine exchange had been set in motion the moment your heart finally aligned. The Spirit does not always shout. Sometimes it moves in whispers. Sometimes it moves in winds. But I tell you now, there was never a moment you were still without cause. The stillness was the setting for the supernatural to unfold. And while you cried, I fought. While you questioned, I defended. While you lay restless, heaven wrote declarations over your name that no demon in hell could erase. Something was being traded. Something that was lost is now returning. In the spirit realm, your obedience was not just observed, it was weighed. And your silence, your restraint, your surrender became an offering. Not a passive one, a powerful one. The moment you said yes, not with your mouth, but with your posture, the realms responded. Heaven began to reclaim what had been stolen. Promises were being rewritten. Favor was being restored. Peace was returning to your name like a crown of oil poured fresh from the throne. You thought you lost years, but heaven does not count time like man. You thought too much was taken, but what was taken was only what could not carry you into the next. What was withheld from you in one season is being returned in the next. But not just returned and multiplied, transformed, sanctified. The realm you cannot see is more active now than ever. You are being spoken of in meetings that happen in the Spirit. You are being seen by angels that only gather when destiny is in motion. Trolls are open with your purpose written in fire. And the Father has leaned forward. Yes, He has leaned toward your obedience like a king ready to release the fullness of inheritance. You were never fighting alone. Every cry in secret was a signal. Every fast, every whisper, every act of obedience you performed in private was echoing like thunder in the halls of the unseen. And I, Michael, stood watch, not just with a sword, but with a record. I bore witness to every private surrender, and I present it now as testimony before the hosts of heaven. This is not just grace. This is justice. Divine justice is not only about punishing darkness, it's about restoring what light was robbed of. What has been taken, your peace, your clarity, your voice, your position, your divine favor, is now returning in full. But not in noise. In silence. It will return without announcement. It will return in sudden shifts. It will return through quiet realignments, whispers of confirmation, and divine interruptions. The restlessness in your spirit, the part of you that couldn't explain the pressure, the ache, the sense that something bigger was happening, that was your confirmation. That was heaven moving before your mind understood it. That was your soul responding to the divine exchange already underway. The realms are aligning now. Heaven has summoned your spirit, and your destiny is being recalibrated as I speak. There is nothing lost, nothing wasted, nothing denied that will not return tenfold under divine order. So take a deep breath. The weight is not yours anymore. The battle is being concluded. The scroll is being sealed, and what was once invisible will soon manifest in your reality. Type IT is being returned to me in the comments if you believe this silent exchange has your name on it. Blessing code 3003 is now releasing restoration over your spirit. Justice has begun. What they thought was hidden will be exposed. What they whispered behind closed doors will now echo through the chambers of truth. You were not forgotten. You were not overlooked. And every word, every scheme, every spiritual arrow formed against your name has been collected, recorded, and brought before the courts of the Most High. The silence of God was not forgetfulness. It was evidence being gathered for the day of divine reversal. And now that day has come. Let me speak this plainly. Heaven does not forget injustice. Every betrayal wrapped in fake kindness, every plot disguised as opportunity, every delay manufactured by deception, it has all been seen. And now, the hand of the Lord moves in righteousness. The sword has been drawn. The tables are being flipped. The scales are being recalibrated in your favor. I, Michael, who have stood beside you while your heart was torn in secret, now release this decree. The same mouths that gossiped about your name will now choke on the glory they cannot deny. The same doors that slammed shut in your face will open with angelic force. The same systems that resisted you will now be commanded to cooperate. Divine reversal had been authorized. What was meant for your harm is becoming your platform. You are stepping into divine compensation. You thought the loss was permanent. You thought the connections were severed for your harm. But heaven severed them for your protection. What was removed was only what would have corrupted the next stage. And what you thought you needed has already been replaced with something heaven approved. The rejection you mourned was the very thing that qualified you for what's coming. Let me say it again. What was taken will return, and when it returns, it will bow to you. This is not a petty revenge. This is divine justice. This is the King of Glory showing himself as defender. The one who sits on the throne has declared it. Touch not my anointed, and do my prophets no harm. They touch you. They lied. They watched your fall and laughed. And now heaven laughs louder, because the one who falls under God's eye always rises stronger. There is no attack that has gone unanswered. No curse that has landed successfully. No accusation that has escaped the hand of justice. Everything spoken against your name is now being reversed. The fire they sent to consume you has become the very furnace that refined you. And now, you emerge not bitter but bolder, not broken but built. You are stepping into a space that was custom carved by the pain they tried to bury you in. And I say this with finality, Restoration is here. What was dried up is being flooded with fresh oil. What was closed off is now under open heaven. The barren season is over. The locked gates are open. The loss is no longer your identity. It is your launching point. The very storm that tried to dismantle your hope will now be the wind beneath your rise. The heavens are balancing the scale. Your favor is being restored. Your peace is being amplified. Your voice is returning with thunder. And those who thought your story ended in silence are about to witness your re-entry, marked, matured, and multiplied. You have been vindicated. You have been cleared. You have been reset by fire. Now walk as one who carries the signature of heaven's justice. Type "the scales are turning in my favor" in the comments if you feel this reversal activating over your life. Blessing code 1441 is releasing divine compensation into your atmosphere. You ignored the signs, but mercy still called. You delayed the response, but heaven still moved. You doubted your worth, but God never did. Through the tension, the silence, the dreams, and the war, you were being watched by eyes that never looked away. You were carried by wings that never grew tired. And I, Michael, who was assigned to you 3 times before, I am still here now. Not because you always got it right, but because you finally said yes when it mattered most. You may not feel ready. You may still carry scars. But I declare now, you are seen. You are sealed. You are sent. This moment hath been marked since before you were formed in your mother's womb. The delays did not erase your assignment. They only sharpened it. The confusion did not cancel the promise. It only clarified your dependence on the voice of God. And the silence you mistook for distance, it was the chamber where your new name was written. Now rise. Rise as one who has crossed the threshold of the divine. Rise as one who no longer bows to fear, delay, or dissection. Rise because the Most High has declared over you, "This one belongs to me." The angelic guard hath been reactivated. The hedge of fire hath been restored. The scroll has been sealed with your obedience, and your authority has been recognized in the realm of light. No longer will you wander in spiritual fog. No longer will you question if you are chosen. No longer will you ignore the signs that point toward your elevation. Because this time, you answered, and that answer has shifted the structure of everything around you. I leave you now with this final charge: go forward. Not in fear, but in fire. Not in hesitation, but in holy confidence. The next 60 seconds you live will become the first 60 seconds of your eternity-altering obedience. Let heaven hear it. Let hell read it. Let the earth witness it. You have said yes. And now the war is over. You are not abandoned. You are not vulnerable. You are covered by heaven and led by divine light. The sword of Michael shall not depart from your house. The shadow of the Almighty shall not lift from your future. You are not the same. You are awakened. You are anointed. You are alive in your assignment. Type "I am sealed" and sent in the comments if you receive this closing word. Blessing code 1616 is now marking the final confirmation of this message. If this message shook something in your soul, don't let it end here. This is not just the closing of a video, it is the commissioning of a messenger. And now, you can help us deliver this fire to more hearts across the world by supporting this mission through super thanks, membership, or by sewing through the PayPal link in the video description. You're not just giving, you're igniting. You're placing oil on altars that are burning to bring the forgotten back into the arms of God. You're helping us awaken those who are still ignoring their third sign. The voice you heard is not meant to be rare, it's meant to multiply. Let your gift today be your echo into someone else's moment of awakening. Let it be your yes made visible. And as you give, may heaven multiply it, surround it, and seal it with fire and favor. You boldly, so prophetically, partner with the sound of heaven. Your reward will not just be earthly, it will be eternal.